Did you know that autistic folks don't actually lack empathy? Yeah, today we're going to talk about the double empathy problem. Hi there, my name is Megan. Welcome to Neurodivergent Magic, the YouTube channel for neurodivergent content. If you've heard that autistic folks don't have empathy, it's okay. You're not alone. It's a really popular misconception, but it turns out it's totally not true. According to some recent studies, autistic folks actually are very empathetic, and the misconception that they aren't comes from a couple of different sources. Number one, it makes autistic folks seem a little less human, and that's what society really needed to hear when we were treating autistic folks very, very poorly. And we still continue to do so. Autistic children are regularly exposed to the same behavioral training as dogs, which can include putting hot sauce on their tongues when they display unwanted behaviors or even shocking them with electric shocks. This treatment is inhumane, point blank, and sometimes people justified it by saying that autistic people didn't feel as much. But now we know this to be completely and utterly false. And this kind of treatment is always wrong. The second reason that we have believed for a long time that autistic folks lack empathy is because of something called the double empathy problem, which is what I really want to dig into today. I want you to picture one car driving west and another car driving east. They are headed directly for each other and somehow they don't collide. How is that possible? It's pretty simple. Turns out one of the cars is on an overpass and going directly overhead. The two cars just miss each other, even though they're headed directly for each other. This is exactly what happens when autistic folks and allistic folks try to communicate. If you don't know, allistic basically means not autistic. One study, which I will link below in the description, had a group of autistic folks play a game of telephone and had a group of allistic folks play a game of telephone. They played separately. Both groups did about equally the same. The message got somewhat garbled, but it wasn't completely incoherent. Then this researcher mixed the groups and combined autistic and allistic people and had them play telephone again. Can you guess what happened? Yeah, the message was a total mess. So what does this teach us? It teaches us that autistic folks don't lack empathy. They just lack neurotypical empathy, and they lack empathy for neurotypical people in the same way that neurotypical people would expect it. Autistic folks are really great at communicating and empathizing with other autistic folks, just like neurotypical people are pretty good at communicating and empathizing with other neurotypical folks. If we go back to the car metaphor, a lot of times people like to describe autistic folks as having a faulty engine or going in the wrong direction. But really, autistic folks have an engine that works just fine, and they're headed in the right direction totally. They're just on an overpass. Sometimes when allistic and autistic people communicate, things get missed, and that's not the autistic person's fault. That's just how communication between autistic folks and allistic folks works. That's the double empathy problem. And I think it's really important for us to realize that different communication is not faulty communication. And I also want to point out that this double empathy problem definitely applies to other forms of neurodivergence as well. So if you have ADHD, if you're highly sensitive, gifted, learning disorders, dyslexia, you may experience this as well. Have you experienced the double empathy problem in real life? Tell me about it in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos on neurodivergence every week.